This will be the first time with the new camera, Center Prism Achieve Wi-Fi, while videoing on the DR200, which no wind protection obviously, so hopefully the audio is decent. We'll see. Anyway, we're headed to West Point, Tennessee to ride a little bit of single track, double track at Natra property, which is a club. It's not really an off-road park, even though it is, but it's more of a club. There's like, you don't actually pull up, pay somebody to be there for the day. You just pay a yearly fee to join, and then you can show up and ride and or camp free of charge, with the exception of that, of course, that 1 year fee, which is $60. You can camp, ride, night, day, 365 days a year, aside from when they have races going on, hair scramble events, things like that. So anyway, that's where we're headed today. Just wanted to make a quick mental note as I pass through, I don't know, I guess downtown St. Joe, Tennessee, if you can call it that. I stopped and got gas on the way. We're about halfway there, and the DR had 147 miles on the trip meter and held an astonishing 2.1 gallons, so close to 70 miles to the gallon, I guess. So just wanted to make a note of that. Just wanted to go ahead and cut this camera on to get this beautiful shot of this hauler we're going down into right now. Roadways like this, while very common in Tennessee, are not that common in North Alabama. So you just feel like you teleported into Gatlinburg, or just outside of Gatlinburg or something, with the somewhat mountainous road as you come down that bluff. So if you're watching this, you stumble across this, and you live somewhere close to what towns that I've mentioned so far: West Point, Tennessee, and St. Joseph, Tennessee. So if you're familiar with that, those names, you live kind of close, but you've never heard of Natra, then I will post a link to their club website where you join if you want to come out here and ride, or at least look into coming out here and riding. They've got, last time I looked, or paid any attention to it, I think the website claims 100 miles of trails, roughly 70 of which are double track and are also mapped. I don't believe any of the single track is mapped. You just kind of have to ride around and look for the arrows, and I think they're all numbered and labeled. They're just not mapped. If they were mapped, it would make the map look a little clustered, I suppose. I'll post up on the screen a copy of the maps, and this will be the revision 5 copy. So anyone who looks at this and is familiar, if you haven't updated your maps as of November 2018, there's a 5th revision out, and I'll post that up on the screen here now. Come on, guy. So yeah, I'll post a link in the description. Maybe you've heard of it and you've just never done the research to figure out whether or not it's worth you making the travel to come to. Like I said, I'll post the link in the description. You can check it out, see what it's all about. We're coming into the riding area now. Trails are about to start splitting off the road to both sides of it soon. And I'm probably going to edit this footage in a way where you don't see a bunch of this, which granted there's not that much road riding. As you'll see, you'll notice when I showed the maps, there's just a couple of roads that run through the property. We're going to come out on that road after we go down a couple of trails up this road, or just off of this road after we go up here a little ways. But yeah, there's not that much road riding to get from trail to trail, and we're in Tennessee, so you can tag side-by-sides. I'm not sure if they do ATVs or four-wheelers, but you can tag side-by-sides for off-highway use, which basically means 35 miles an hour and slower, county roads and city roads only. But Natra has worked out an agreement with the town and the local landowners and the police authority, and you can ride any off-road vehicle on the road, not through the town, but through, to get from trail to trail out here. You don't have to worry about getting a ticket. Obviously, if you're not behaving, you're out here on a motocross bike just tearing up these back roads, you're going to get in trouble then. But if you follow the rules and ride like you should, then it won't be any kind of problem. So we're going to shoot off on the trail here and see where it takes us. A little muddier today than what I was hoping it would be, just based off of how everything looked at my house prior to leaving to come up here. We have had some recent rain, but it's been days. But obviously not as dried out as I thought it was going to be, or else I wouldn't be mentioning it. But it's pretty decent riding weather, 60 some odd degrees. So we'll probably run into more of that, side-by-sides out, enjoying the day and the weather. As you can see, it's pretty rough in some areas. The single tracks aren't, I'm sure there's some that are pretty rough, but for the most part, the single track isn't that bad. The double track, obviously, if you've got a lot of side-by-sides, between side-by-sides, four-wheelers, and racing four-wheelers and quads, your double track's obviously going to get tore up a good bit. So it is pretty rough and rutted as well, with it being hilly. Every time it rains, the drainage will rut down the middle of the tracks and stuff like that. But like you see here, but it's by no means unnegotiable or anything like that. this is the wall. I might jump off real quick here for a second and show it to you. Right here at the top is pretty much straight vertical, within a couple degrees anyways. And then there's two more spots to climb up that are not as bad, but that one's referred to as the wall. I don't know if people still climb up right here or not. It used to be referred to either there, I think it was back there, was referred to as college for a long time. I'm sure still is. It doesn't look like people have been climbing it that much recently. And then this here is Schoolboy. Doesn't look as bad as I really remember that one being. I say that. And of course the video, it's hard to do anything justice in the video, but we'll spin around. Actually, we'll just go off of it. We'll spin around and get a look at it from the bottom. But it's a lot easier to just ride down it and get a look at it from the bottom. I would ride over to the bottom of the wall, but with it being this muddy, as you can see there's a little pond there you got to negotiate around, and this little bike will probably sink up the mud pretty easy, and I don't feel like doing it, so there you go. I would like to try to climb it. I've climbed it before, but it has been literally years. And it used to not be that bad. I think the side-by-sides is kind of, at one point, wallowed it around, because I have climbed this before on a Kawasaki 220 Bayou four-wheeler. But I don't think you would have very good luck making it today on such a machine. If I had to guess. And I'm up here by myself, so worth keeping in mind. There's things that I have climbed in my life out here that I would not dare climb or attempt to climb by myself, regardless of what machine I was on. For obvious reasons. Had I never climbed that hill, or at the very least gone down that hill before, I probably would not have rode down it just then, for that very reason. Just safety. definitely muddier than I was hoping it was going to be. I kind of look at it like fishing. A bad day fishing would be better than a good day at work, so a bad day riding your motorcycle, because it's muddy. So weather-wise it's bad. It's still better than a good day doing a lot of other activities. So not the hill I thought it was. Yep, pea gravel hill, trail 24. Need to address this rear drum brake. One of the downsides to the DR200. Runs a drum brake. Works great. I have no complaints with it, other than it needs adjusting more often. You know, some mechanical linkage. Once you get out here and start laying into it a little bit, it usually needs some adjusting, and then it'll be good until the next time you make it all the way back out here. That's trail number 24, known as Pea Gravel Hill. And that first hill I climbed with the guys on the side-by-side sitting at the top of it, that's called two-step. And I wish there was a trail map for the single track, because I'm not that familiar with the single track at all. Every time I was ever up here on a bike as a teenager and a kid, I was riding with people on four-wheelers, so we didn't ever touch the single track anyway. And so I really have no knowledge of the single track. I know where a few of the trails are. We're probably going to go down a single track trail here in a moment. One that I know of. That's a pretty good one. It's not very long. It's I think a 3-mile loop. If I can remember, I'll check my odometer at the end.